The undefeated champion boxer Bivol had no chance to win his next match. Well, that's according to the bookies, who had him as a massive underdog against Saul Canelo. Canelo has 60 pro fights, with his last loss over 9 years ago. Using his flashy speed, defense, and relentlessness, Canelo could solve any opponent and dismantle them. And many of his defeated opponents were championship pedigree. Bivol, on the other hand, hasn't been a pro for that long. He only has 19 pro fights under his belt. And on top of all that, he is a very simple boxer, meaning he only uses no more than 3 punching combinations. So it's easy to see how Canelo would walk right through Bivol. But lo and behold, Bivol defeated Canelo. How could a superstar boxer like Canelo fall to a simple fighter? Many people couldn't understand this, except for the boxing purists who understood one thing about Bivol. They knew Bivol was well trained from his amateur days, and the key skills he developed during that time helped him in defeating the flashy Canelo. So what are these key skills? Well, they're the boxing fundamentals. When it comes to taking care of yourself, we need to focus on the fundamentals. And one of those fundamentals is journaling. Now I know there's a million and one pieces about journaling on the internet, and I'm not gonna talk about how journaling is cool, sexy, will make you successful, blah blah blah. Honestly, my journaling video and my structure is fairly boring. And all it involves is 10 minutes of your day answering 3 questions and having a recap. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you all about it. So get ready for a snoozer. Question 1. What did I do wrong? Easy question, right? But let's be honest. How many of us ask ourselves, what did I do wrong on a daily basis? Yeah, think about it. I'll give you some time. It's zilch. For a lot of us, it's not easy to admit that we did something wrong. But when we do, we're allowing ourselves the opportunity to learn from our mistakes. And from those mistakes is how we're able to enrich ourselves with wisdom. And that type of wisdom is the wisdom where you're learning more about yourself and human nature. Because what you're going through, millions, if not billions of people on this earth and throughout history are going through it or have gone through it as well. When you start asking yourself what you did wrong on a daily basis, you're gonna start noticing things about yourself. You're gonna notice your ignorance, misunderstandings, and patterns. And when you're able to notice all that and more, you're putting yourself in a position to correct it. Half the battle in correcting our mistakes is identifying them. And if we don't even know what our mistakes are, then how can we fix them? It's like trying to walk through life blindfolded. And to add further proof, I want to show you that I'm not making all this stuff up. I'm going to show you this quote from the Arabian Nights. Time was no friend to those who did not look at the consequences of their actions. Let me add another quote from Gracian. And pay attention to the last sentence of the quote. Know how to help yourself. A stout heart is the best company in tight situations, and when it falters, the other parts of the body should step up to help. Troubles are lessened for those who know how to help themselves. Don't give in to misfortune, for it will end up being intolerable. Some help themselves very little when confronted with difficulties and double them through not knowing how to bear them. A person who knows himself addresses his weakness with careful thought, and a discreet person emerges victorious over everything, even the stars. The second question to ask yourself while journaling is, what did I do? Now this question is much more positive in the sense that it reminds you of the accomplishments that you had throughout the day. One of my issues with self-help YouTube in general is that it keeps talking about all the things that you're doing wrong. You're doing this mistake, this error, blah, blah, blah. And it just makes you feel bad about yourself. And oddly enough, everyone has some form of an accomplishment throughout the day. But the only problem is that we forget them. So as a result, we put more emphasis on the mistakes and errors that we make throughout the day and ignore completely the accomplishments that we had. And sadly enough, when you overemphasize the mistakes and ignore your accomplishments, it feels like you're not making any progress in life. So that's why it's crucial to take note of the accomplishments you've had throughout the day. And keep in mind, even a small accomplishment is worthy to note. If you follow through on a good habit, that's worthy to write down. Or if you take a courageous step for whatever you're doing, that's also another thing that's worthy of jotting down. For me, the accomplishments that I write down in my journal are, say, applying for a job, working out, writing, tickling my wife, random things like that. So please don't forget to jot down the good things you've done throughout the day. Because let's be honest, it's so easy to get hard on ourselves, and it takes some time to realize that we are more than the mistakes we make in life. Alright, let's go back to my boy Gracian for another relevant quote. Immediately find the good in everything. This is the blessing of those with good taste. A bee heads for something sweet to make honey, and a snake for something bitter to make poison. So with our tastes, some making for the best, others for the worst. There is nothing without some good in it, especially a book, the product of reflection. Some people's characters are so wretched that amidst 1,000 good qualities, they find the only possible flaw that might exist and proceed to censure and celebrate it. They scavenge the will and the understanding for dirt, burdening themselves with faults and flaws. This is more a punishment for their misguided discernment than a sign of their subtlety. They have miserable lives, always feeding on affliction and gorging on imperfections. More fortunate are those who, amidst 1,000 flaws, immediately find the one good point which happens to be there. Alright, let's hop onto the third question of journaling, which is, what's left undone? This question is pretty straightforward. You just write down the things that you didn't get to complete for whatever reason. This could be homework, delaying an uncomfortable conversation, things of that nature. And you just write it down so that for the next day, you don't forget. And let's be honest, it's so easy to forget things in life, especially when you have school, work, lovers, friends, family, all that and more. But that being said, that's no excuse not to work on yourself and your dreams. Because if there's anything I know, you don't want 10 or 20 years to pass and wonder why you never completed the things that were so dear to you. By asking those 3 questions every night, you're giving yourself the opportunity to seriously reflect over your life. And if you do this long enough, you're going to be a person that commits to growth and also be a person that's able to create the life that they want. And lastly, because I almost forgot, the last thing you want to do after those 3 questions is to simply recap the day. Was it a good, bad, meh day? Did anything interesting happen? How did you feel? Or whatever, just recap the day however you want. The whole point of this journaling structure is not to make it complicated, but just a simple way to keep track of yourself and to a certain extent, keeping track of your dreams and goals. That being said, there's still gonna be some people that think this journaling structure is not that easy. All because they're way too tired to journal when it's at the end of the day. Listen, I know earlier in this video I said taking 10 minutes to journal before bed. And some people will object saying they're way too tired, they don't have enough energy to think about the day, or if they get into bed, they just crash and burn. I get it. I totally get it. But here's the thing. Why are you complicating it? If you're too tired to journal right before bed, then journal in the morning. Or if the morning is way too hectic, journal when you have the most energy, say 10-20 minutes after breakfast or after your first meeting, whatever it is. You can find the time to journal. It only takes 10 minutes, and find the time when you have the energy to do it. Guys, you have to realize is that this journaling method is very simple. And if you're finding this way too hard, then that's on you. It's more of a sense where you're trying to find excuse and not doing it. Listen, if you want the best in life or the best from yourself, you need to follow simple habits like journaling. And if you're having a hard time finding time to journal, there's a simple solution. Find the time when you have the most energy. Life is way too short to not ask the best from yourself. And speaking of the best, when you go and buy a journal, choose the best. Because this is going to be a place where you're going to be putting down your thoughts, your ideas, and to a certain extent, your soul. So you want to do in something that is high quality. I know this sounds kind of shallow and all, but trust me, If you get a poor quality journal, or worse, you get a school notebook to write down your ideas and thoughts and recap of the day, you're gonna see the pages tatter, you're gonna see the pages get crumpled, you're just gonna see it in a poor state, and that's gonna be a reflection of you. You have to understand that your journal is an extension of who you are. So when you pull it out, you wanna pull out a high quality journal. You wanna have pride in pulling out that journal, the thing that holds an essence of who you are. Again, I know this sounds kind of shallow and whatever, but trust me, everything you do, and to an extent, almost everything you own, is a reflection of you. So why not have something that's high quality that is significant for you? And guys, if you're not too sure where to go for high quality journals, honestly, it's not that hard. You can either grab Moleskine or you can grab my favorite brand. And before I tell you the name of my favorite brand, I am going to butcher it. It is Leuchtturm 1917. These are my favorite type of journals. They're high quality, and every year I always buy a new one. All right, so go there to grab it, or Moleskine, whatever, just grab yourself a high quality journal. And before I leave this section of the video, I wanna remind you something. Treat yourself properly. Buy a high quality journal, buy good clothing, buy things to treat yourself appropriately. When you treat yourself right, the world will too. And to treat you right, let's wrap this video up. To journal, follow the 3 questions from the Golden Verses and a recap of your day. Question 1, what did I do wrong? By taking note of your mistakes, you are giving yourself the opportunity to grow and learn about human nature. Question 2, what did I do? We can't be too hard on ourselves. We need to take note of our accomplishments to show that we are making progress in life. Question 3, what duties left undone? Taking note of this will help keep the things we didn't finish on top of mind. It's easy to forget our dreams and goals, so this question will remind us what is left undone in that department. Lastly, just recapping the day. This is just to jot down a brief summary of the day, just so you get a sense of it. People feel they are too tired to journal before bed. If that's the case, then journal in the morning. Do what's easier for you. A simple mistake people make is by using low quality notebooks for journaling. Treat yourself right by getting a high quality journal. This is a place where you'll put your soul in, so get something you can respect. Honestly, because of those 3 questions, I was able to make journaling a habit. Before then, it was just a complete mess. I would go on self-help YouTube, look at all the best ways and tactics to journal, and honestly, I never was able to get it down as a habit until I discovered those 3 questions which I got from the Golden Verses, which is from ancient Greece. Again guys, I'll keep reminding you this in almost all my videos and newsletters. Life is simple. If you consistently follow the fundamentals, you will surprise yourself with what will come as a result. Just like Bivol did against Canelo. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter, share this video, and guys, remember, you're not just any type of nerd, you're a charismatic nerd.